Hi, this is Derek Ryan with DataMaster. DataMaster is a software for appraisers developed over 20 years ago by appraisers, again, for appraisers. We're just launching in the Ann Arbor, Michigan MLS. The whole purpose of DataMaster is to save residential appraisers at least an hour per report. Think of it as an electronic bridge. You go in every day, and of course you do your searches and you get your data from the Ann Arbor MLS, and then you send it into your final software, which is either Alamo, ACI, Bradford, or separate. Today I'm going to use Alamo's Total, but we work with all of those major four software. So what you would do is begin the same way you always do. You would go in this case to Total, and I would create my cloner template, which I've done here. I do want to show you that there's no data in here, so that when we go in here and you see the data moved, you'll see that we really have loaded that. And of course, you're going to go to the Ann Arbor MLS and you're going to do your search. Some appraisers do that search where you do your market conditions first, and then you pick your comparables from there. That's the way I've done it, just for the purpose of the demonstration. But you can do it however your flow is. We're not going to interrupt your workflow. All we're going to do is put that electronic bridge in between it, but once this data is chosen by you, the professional, we're going to load it into DataMaster. And the way you do that, this is DataMaster software that you're looking at now. So again, this is DataMaster. This is your MLS. This is your software. So you just add one in the middle to everything you have open. So let's go back to DataMaster. I would click on the house up here in the upper left, and I would name the file. We suggest you name it the same name that you name it in your appraisal software. Then I would come in and choose which appraisal software I use. I told you I chose an Alamo, and then you would also come and choose the form. Once you do that, you hit create file, and once that file is created, now you are ready to go in DataMaster. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go to the MLS, because this is where you're working, and we're going to assume that this is going to be the subject problem. So I just grab this MLS number and I open up DataMaster, and I can search 3 different ways. So when I'm ready to get the subject, I can search by MLS number. So if I pop that MLS number in there and hit search, it's going to search the MLS and public records, and it's going to bring it in if it's a matching number, and then that's going to automatically be into DataMaster. Okay, if the home was not listed, then you can search by the address or by the APN number. You can see it does bring up the deeds first on this home on Hayes Road. Deeds are very important. We'll get into that in a minute. Okay, so now if you were going to search by address, you choose the address one, APN number if the home wasn't listed, and you would be ready to go. So now you get the subject loaded in there. Now you would go back to the MLS, and you'd obviously choose your comparables. I just chose a couple of listings and the 5 or 4 or 5 sales. Once you've selected those, you go up here to the export button, you hit export, and we've obviously worked with the MLS with DataMaster. So when you actually submit this, it creates a CSV file, and you send the CSV file right to DataMaster. So that's very, very powerful. Those comparables that I've chosen, once I send them right to DataMaster, it's going to bring the photo in as well as all this data. And let me explain to you why we bring in the photo. We want the photo because we realize most of those you need to take yourself. But when I appraised, I like to slide the photo that I took over the photo that was also in the MLS. It kind of helps you when houses look the same, that you have the right house. So that's why we bring in the photos. But the other little idea with DataMaster is once you send and you choose the comparables and the data and you move it into DataMaster, you don't have to leave there again. You don't have to leave to go to the MLS. You don't have to go to Bing or Google to look at aerial photos or street photos. And let me explain this right now. Let's just go to Palm 2. let's say I've moved these comps in, but I want to look at what the MLS sheet said. Notice every comp has MLS sheet right here. So if I click on that, it's going to take me and review the MLS sheet again, so I can read anything in there, and that's just very handy. You don't have to bounce back and forth to the MLS. Deeds are very important, as we all know. This particular deed on comp 2, notice that comp 2 has a doc number here. Well, if you look, this particular date when the warranty deed took place is probably the current sale. If there was another sale in between, that, or even earlier than this, within a year, down here you would mark prior sale. So the prior sale, we're imagining that there was one on March 24th, 2021, and it had a warranty deed. You would mark that one for prior sale, and then you would mark this top one for the current sale. Watch what happens to this when I uncheck that current sale. Again, because of the power we're moving public records as well as MLS data, see how it just says no doc selected? But if I check that, because I know it is, it's going to give me the doc number, which this is one source of verification with the MLS. This is the second source, public records. That's what it wants here. It's just a great way to do that. So that's the power of deeds. Then on the map, a lot of times when I was out driving comparables, I come back and say, oh gosh, what did that street look like, or what did that exactly happen? And I can come back here and I can look at this scene and I can say, oh my gosh, this is the one with the major railroad track or a major roadway, and it would remind me without having to go to Bean separately. I can go here to Google and I can look at the street scene and remind myself of what that property looked like, and if I need to change any of the factors here on location, I can do so. So pretty nice that that's right there for you. Of course, here we've added a new thing just lately on it. We call it the DataMaster Standard Addendum. If this property here on Comp 3 was backing up to a railroad track, and I made a location adjustment, I would just say no, whatever I did. Let's say it was a $5,000 adjustment. No $5,000 adjustment to this comparable comp was because it backs on to a live railroad track. So if you determine to send this in your total report, meaning the total software report, when the underwriter sometimes doesn't read your addendums and they call back asking about things, you can actually see, or they can see and answer their own question. Oh yeah, that's why they made that $5,000 adjustment. I should have noted that to Comp 3. It did about a live railroad track. So that saves you time again. The yellow dots by every comparable is, again, we tell you we're pulling from the Ann Arbor Public Record, MLS, as well as public records. A lot of people like the APN numbers and the site size that come from public records. That's the way we have it now, and the rest of this is coming from the MLS. You can change that by, clicking on one of these and saving it, but it's just a way for you to even choose where you want it to come from. So very powerful. We also have you set as a page 2, meaning this grid page on how you like your non-UAD lines, like these bottom 3 lines on the left. Some areas don't even adjust for fireplaces. I'm assuming Michigan does, Utah does, where we're based. But we'll take a look at your report, and if you like FAU Central Air spelled out, or just Central, we'll customize this how you want it one time, and then it comes in that way every time. So we're just saving the keystrokes every moment as you go along. All right, you got your subject and comparables. Now let's go back to the MLS and say, okay, now I am ready to send my market conditions. And again, based on the data that I had in here, there was 138 properties. I'm gonna choose them all, and I'm gonna go to all 3 pages and choose them all. Probably a faster way to do this, but you would know that. Anyway, I'm just showing you how I'm checking them all. And then I'm going to go up here and hit the export button again. And then It's going to create submit it. It's going to create another CSV file. And that's a different one with the market conditions. That CSV file is going to be sent so that when I hit on the market conditions, I import all of the data in the market conditions. See how I filled this right out? In other words, I know that the MLS can produce this, but then you have to retype it. There's no retyping done here. You actually have it right there with customized comments here. And if you mark these boxes within DataMaster, they will also go on through to the software, or you can wait till you get the software. So this is very powerful. We also do graphs that, if you take a look at this more in depth, we'll show you why we use graphs and which ones we put in. And there's also a details page where you can put all the 6-month or the 3-month categories and even move some of these properties out if you feel like there's outliers. So several things you can do with this to save you time. And remember, all this is coming through data you've chosen. You choose the comparables. You choose the market conditions. You set up the parameters as an appraisal professional. But then once it's inside of DataMaster, then we move it to the software, in this case, Total. So I've got these things here ready to go. I've got the subject, comparables, market conditions. Most appraisers spend about 7 to 15 minutes inside of DataMaster, moving it from their local MLS. Now it's going to give me a recap. It says, here's the subject. There's 10 unresolved discrepancies with public records and MLS. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. It's going to include the subject and the photo to the subject. If you've already taken your subject photo and it's in there for the picture you took, you haven't checked that. And then this is that DataMaster addendum. If you want to include it in the report here, you can. And then if you want to actually send it right to your work file, Total out of the 4 software allows you to do that. So pretty cool how this works. Back up to here, these unresolved discrepancies down here, it goes through every comparable and compares the MLS to public records data on bathrooms and so on. So a lot of times when I get a call from, say, your review appraiser was questioning it, they would question perhaps the number of bathrooms. Say, hey, the review appraiser says there's 2. You say there's 3. What's going on here? Well, they probably missed it, and the review appraiser was using public records data. And I would point, yeah, I saw that out in the discrepancy, but I called the realtor. Realtors go in, and most assessors don't. There are 3 baths, not 2. And I can answer that question just like that. Tells you how many comparables we're sending, the graphs included, and now I hit send to report. Once I hit send to report, it's going to begin a handshake between DataMaster and your software. In this case, it's going to create a wizard handshake with Total from Alamode, and it's going to move all that data that I have in DataMaster, that middleware, or that electronic bridge, and it's going to move it into the appraisal software again, in this case, Total. So you're up on the edge of your seat doing your triple V's, verifying, validating, and valuing within your appraisal software an hour or an hour and 10 minutes earlier than you would be, because moving this data is a whole lot better and faster than typing it. You can fat finger it, other things go on. Now, some people say, well, wait a second, if the data in the MLS isn't right, it's garbage in, garbage out. Well, that's true, but if you're typing it, you could also fat finger it too. So this is moving. You still have to do your triple V's. You see now the data wizard opening up, and here it's going to ask us, what do you want to do? Do you want to create a new report and send this data from the MLS that's now in DataMaster? Or do you want to go into a merge file? Of course, I want to go into that merge file that I created, and I want to replace any data there, because if I've done a cloner template, I might have old comparables in there, and I want these new ones. So I hit import, and now it's shaking hands, and it's going to magically move all the data UAD compliant with the photos, with the customization, just the way it was, and it's going to move it into Total. So I open up Total, and it's going to eventually show up here. Boom. You see how it populated? There's the front page, there's the public records, there's some comments about the listing itself and the listing history. And so pretty powerful what's happening here. Now you click down to the sales comparison. I guess I better get rid of this somehow. I don't know how that came on. It's moving my flow. Okay, then it goes to page 2. See all of the comparables move automatically, customized the way you want it to, because remember, when we take the time to do the hour appointment, you'll get that customized the way you want it. And then, of course, no surprises here. It took us right. All the data was in the market conditions came here, even the boxes that were checked, even the photo addendums. You'll be able to see the photos. Drop those in, and then you can slide yours over the top of it. Very powerful how this works, because now in the view, it even brought the graphs in as well into a photo addendum. And again, when you do your hour-long appointment, we'll explain to you why underwriters love graphs to support your trends that you chose in your market conditions. So, just to recap, created your clone. In this case, I created a total in my software. I opened up a file in DataMaster and created a file in DataMaster, and then went to the MLS, did my search and my parameters. Again, you as the professionals are choosing that. It's just when you're ready to move it, it'll move it UAD compliant and your personal customization compliant with the market conditions. It'll move it right into DataMaster. Once you have what you have in the DataMaster, then you review and send, and it sends it right into total or ACI Bradford or something. So that's it. Again, most appraisers spend 7 to 15 minutes in DataMaster, but it saves them another 70 minutes because they're up on the edge of their seat. So we'll be reaching out to you. This webinar might come to you as a recording. We'll be doing other presentations. Our account executive here is Becky Shryock, and your onboarder is Kareem Carrington. We look forward to working with you in ABOR and helping you create more time to create more business, or more time to create more fun in your life. So thanks everybody, and I appreciate you joining. Have a good day.